I can't believe it's August and I haven't started my tier lists yet. So in today's video, we're going to be getting that started by going through every single catcher in Major League Baseball that matters, all the starters, all the guys that play, and I'll be ranking them from elite all the way down to basically the trash tier, aka he's starting. The other tiers, we've got all-star, good baseball man, and I changed it up. I've been doing tiers for so long. I need new tier ranking names, and we're rocking with these. If you got any better suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. As well as don't forget to leave a like if you want to see the tier list continue on the channel. Drop a like, best way to show your support, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content. And if you want to yell at me, not in the YouTube comment section, you can follow me on my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Baseball is in full swing, and SeatGeek is giving a special offer to my viewers because you guys have used my code so much. Giraffe10 is a special code that gives you 10% off your order, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. Basically, nobody else gets this code, so make sure you use it, Giraffe10. And SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, so they have you covered for all your baseball ticket needs. Along with the fact that there are more than 70,000 events every single day that you can buy tickets to on SeatGeek, whether they're baseball games, football season's coming up, basketball, there's concerts you could go to, there's festivals, I don't know, they got tickets to everything. And with over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. My favorite thing about SeatGeek is their SeatGeek score. Each ticket is graded on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. And when you're looking for your tickets, you're going to be looking for those green dots, those numbers closer to 10. That means it's a good deal. You should buy it. If you see red or numbers closer to 1, avoid those at all costs. So again, don't worry, I've got the hookup. Use code Giraffe10 for 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, max of $25 off. All you have to do is sign in or sign up, go to your account, and under promo codes, type in Giraffe10. That's 10% off any purchase using my code Giraffe10. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. All right, so we've got Adley Rutschman first off, and I know Adley has been having a slow second half. Like, he's been pretty terrible. I think he hit his first home run in a while the other day, but Adley is still a phenomenal player. Still great behind the plate, still really good at the plate as well when it comes to hitting. And this year, in what is a down year for Adley Rutschman and what is a slow year, I still think he is a part of that elite tier of catchers. We've just seen too much of him already. We've seen what he's been able to do to this Orioles team in the past and what he's going to do in the future. I still think he is the elite, or one of the elite catchers in Major League Baseball. We're not going to bump him down from there yet. This is a cold streak. Happens to everybody. As for Alejandro Kirk, this is so difficult because Kirk in the past has had some decent years. He came up and was a really good hitter and even pretty decent defensively, but pretty much since that All-Star 2022 season, we've not seen the same Alejandro Kirk. The numbers just get worse and worse and worse every year. I think I'm going to go with I don't think he's starting category just yet, because there's a world where he still is a decent hitter. He's only 25, 26 years old. I'm not giving up on Kirk just yet, but I will say it's not the same ceiling that we once saw from the same kind of player. Austin Wells. Austin Wells has been amazing for the New York Yankees. They're much better when he's on the field. He's been really good behind the plate, which is the one thing that I'm most surprised about, because coming out of college, defensively, didn't really seem like he was going to be as good as he has been at the Major League level there. At the plate, always knew this guy could hit. He raked at Arizona, raked through the minors, and now he's hitting at the Major League level. Has cooled off a tiny bit. He's not on that crazy tear that he once was, but he's really good. Now, where am I going to put Austin Wells? I'm not putting him in the elite category. I don't think just yet that I can do that off of 250 at-bats. He is very good, though, so I will be putting Austin Wells in the all-star category. He has been phenomenal this year. A big reason why the Yankees have been able to stay afloat, stay in first place in the AL East. Austin Wells is an all-star caliber player. And again, all-star doesn't mean like you made the all-star team. It's just like I think you are an all-star caliber player. As for Ben Rortvedt, he's a pretty okay player. Now, it's the Rays. They're going to start weird catchers all the time. It's like a platoon of him and Alex Jackson, which whatever, that Rays team is pretty terrible offensively, even though they're playing good baseball. It's so confusing with the Rays. Ben Rortvedt's confusing too. Good defensively sometimes-ish. At the plate, he's kind of whatever, not very good. You get him because he is more of a defensive first catcher. I'm going to just put him in the IE category. Again, inside these tiers, not really important where these guys are going. The only thing we're really caring about and looking at is what tier they're in. So it's not that I necessarily think Alejandro Kirk's better than Ben Rortvedt. They're just in the same tier, and I think that's a pretty good spot to put Rortvedt. He's not anything special. As for Bo Naylor, he just finds himself in a very similar category as the guys that are in IE right now. Offensively, hasn't been particularly good this year. I gotta say, keep him away from Austin Hedges. That guy's one of the worst hitters ever. Seems like he's been around him too much. Bo Naylor can be a good hitter, has not really shown it this season at all. An OPS around 600 is not great, but defensively, keep him around Austin Hedges as much as physically physically possible. He's been great behind the plate this year, especially in terms of framing. He's been phenomenal, but the numbers are not good enough to put him anywhere. Ooh, man. I think he's aight. I like Bo Naylor again as a prospect. I think he'll be a pretty decent player, but we're going to put him in aight. As for the man, the myth, the legend that is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. He is one of the most underrated, underappreciated catchers in all of Major League Baseball. One of the big reasons, he hits 210. He is basically Kyle Schwarber at the plate. You're going to get low batting average, a higher on base because he does walk a little bit, and a lot of pop. Switch hitter, and defensively, Cal Raleigh is a really solid framer, like one of the better framers in all of Major League Baseball. Good at catching runners as well. I'm willing to put Cal Raleigh in the elite tier. And again, I know the Yankee fans are screaming, how is Austin Wells not there? Cal Raleigh's there. Their numbers are comparable. We've now seen Cal Raleigh for his career put up 3 straight seasons where he has 27 or more home runs. There's just more numbers behind it that allows me to put him higher up in that tier, even though maybe this season they are relatively the same caliber. But Cal Raleigh has been phenomenal. He's a really good catcher, and people need to start giving him the respect he deserves. Big dumper is the man. Connor Wong, on the other hand, not in that same caliber as Cal Raleigh. Now, Connor Wong is having a nice year. The Baseball Savant numbers don't love him, but counting numbers, 291 average, 346 on base, 779 OPS. Very solid. That's exactly what you want from your catcher if you're the Boston Red Sox, a team that's maybe not as focused on defense first right now as they are on trying to score as many runs as physically possible, and Connor Wong does help you. How sticky is it for Connor Wong? I'm not particularly sure, but he's been playing well this year. I think he's a decent player. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say he's a good baseball man. I think he's going to be the first of that list where he's having a solid impact this year. He's not hurting the team by any means. I don't think he's one of the best catchers in baseball, but he is very much a starter, and he is capable of playing every single day. And honestly, I feel the same now about his catching counterpart, Danny Jansen, who came in to fill in for Reese McGuire because Reese McGuire, not very good. Danny Jansen is very good, though. Danny Jansen has the ability to be in that all-star tier. He's a guy that we've seen play at an all-star caliber level before. Big power out of him, usually pretty good defense, good right-handed bat in Fenway. That's going to play really well. I like putting Danny Jansen in the good baseball man tier. That just feels like a good home for these two. Hence why they're platooning, why they're splitting time with each other. It just makes sense. Oh, Francisco Alvarez, you are so... I don't want to do this right now. Why do I have to rank Francisco Alvarez at this moment? Because truthfully, Francisco Alvarez has not been playing very well this season. He's had really good moments. He's had sparks, but defensively, starting to go down a little bit, and at the plate, there hasn't been nearly as much pop as we had hoped for. He has struggled. I think there might be an injury there that he's playing through and he's not saying. This really pains me. This hurts me so badly, and it feels like he is a different tier than maybe the 3 guys listed in aight right now, but based on what we have seen from Francisco Alvarez right now, he has been a league average hitter, and I guess an above average defensive catcher, but the numbers are starting to cool off. Oh, where do I put Francisco? God, he is elite at framing, though. Elite. Can't really throw anybody out, but he is an elite framer. Whatever. Biased Mets fan. He is better than those 3 guys. Like, I think if there was one more tier, he'd go there, but he is better than the guys in aight, not better than the guys above him. He's like kind of the end of both of these tiers right now. Whatever. Get mad at me in the comments. I love Francisco Alvarez. He's gonna be good. He has to be good. Please. Gabriel Moreno. This is a tough one, too, because he's actually having a pretty good quiet year. Like, at the plate, he seems to be a little bit better than league average. He doesn't strike out, which is really big. I believe he's walking a little bit more than he did last year, which is also huge for the development of Gabriel Moreno. He's also hitting the ball way harder than he did last year, which is one of the things that was concerning for me. So those are awesome, and we know defensively behind the plate, Gabriel Moreno's really good. I think I'm going to put him in the all-star tier. I'm going to put him in the all-star tier with the caveat being that I don't think he is an all-star catcher right now, but again, he feels like he fits better in that second tier underneath elite rather than the rest of the catchers right now that are in good baseball man, which is, I hate saying this over and over again, it sounds insane, but Gabriel Moreno is a really good ball player. I was a little bit more down on him than most. I wasn't impressed with what I saw last year. There wasn't a lot of pop in that bat, but the velos did go up. He does battle injuries, though, it seems like quite often, which might be a thing that also happens with catchers. Sucks for the Diamondbacks he got hurt because when he's in the lineup, they are better, but I think right now I feel okay putting him in that tier above the rest of these guys. Jacob Stallings, simply off the name, he's starting. That being said, I want to be respectful to Jacob Stallings. He is having a nice year, 66 games, 7 homers, and OPS at 800. He's actually hitting well on both home and away splits. Like, it's not just a Coors Field effect, which normally happens. The thing is, he's been so horrible for like the last, 3 seasons, and he hasn't been as sharp defensively as he once was. Like, he used to be an elite framer. He's one of the worst framers, but now he's really good at blocking, where in the past wasn't as good. I don't really know what to do with Jacob Stallings. I'm going to leave him in the he's starting right now because the Rockies are so bad, and maybe he's just hot. It's 60 games. This isn't a huge sample. This is the COVID season, and based on what we've seen in the previous 300, he's been a guy like, what? He's starting? You're playing this guy? Sorry, Rockies fans, but it's a tough year for you. Jake Rogers. Jake Rogers is for sure going in the he's starting category. This is a dude who should not be playing every single day, and I feel for you Tigers fans because he was a guy who had a little bit of promise, had some pop in that back, good arm behind the plate, but it just has not culminated into almost anything useful. Now, defensively, he is awesome. He still is great at framing. He's still great at pop time, but for this Tigers team, he needs to be able to hit a little bit more than he is to stay in this starting lineup when you have such a weak offense. Maybe I'm being harsh on Jake Rogers because the defensive numbers are great, but how many of those guys exist in Major League Baseball? You could just get Austin Hedges, who is one of the best defensive catchers we've seen, and you could play him, and I'd put him in the same category. Regardless of the semantics and the arguments, he's staying where I put him. He's starting. You can get mad at me in the comments. I'm sure a lot of you will. How about Joey Bart? Joey Bart, cut from the Giants, number 2 overall pick back in 2018. The ceiling was so high on Joey Bart. People were crazy about this kid, and it never really worked out in San Francisco. He now goes to Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden, that bat is alive. Bart's been really, really good with the Pirates this year. The numbers have been incredible. He's their starting catcher now, a guy who wasn't supposed to start for them, a guy they did not anticipate starting for them. And in under 200 at-bats, 12 homers, 36 RBIs, and 882 OPS. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to put him in All-Star again. This is 200 at-bats, 200 plate appearances, let's say, for Joey Bart, where he's been a very good baseball player. He's going to go in the good baseball man tier. Need to see a little bit more, but this is a guy who had the prospect pedigree, was a top pick in the draft. All signs could lead to him having his breakout in Pittsburgh and being a good catcher for the rest of his career, because the stuff he's doing this year is awesome. Jonah Heim. Oh, man, this one sucks, because Jonah Heim, skyrocketed. All the baseball people who were talking about him in the past were like, here it is. Finally, Jonah Heim's popping off. Made the All-Star team, Gold Glove, World Series last year. It was an awesome year for Jonah Heim. This season, not nearly as good. In the 103 games he's played, he has gone back to his old form a little bit. He has been a significantly below average hitter at the plate, and defensively has not been good, and that was a big thing for Jonah Heim. I'm not going to drop him to all right. Again, I'm going to put him in the good baseball man tier because we have seen him play well. I still believe in him as a player, but this season has not been good for Jonah Heim. It hasn't been good for the Rangers. World Series hangover, take it, crumble it up, throw it in the garbage, get rid of it. Jonah Heim this season included, because he's a good ball player, but he is playing terribly this year. What do I do with JT Realmuto? Because it feels like we are finally starting to see him get old. He's going to be 33, 34 in March next season. That's kind of the age when just baseball players in general start to slow down, especially catchers, especially super athletic catchers. I don't think it can be understated how good of a player JT Realmuto was in the past, but he is not that same player anymore. He's not playing like that this year. He had another down season last year. It's just what happens when you play as much as he does. This guy plays 130 games a year behind home plate, and with the injuries mounting up and the age, he's just not the same guy. I'm still going to put him in good baseball man tier, but he is no longer a part of that top cream of the crop in terms of catchers. He still has great defensive metrics. He's still awesome at throwing out runners. The pop time is insane, but at the plate, it's just not the same, and you got to drop him down. Oh, man, this one sucks. I loved Keibert Ruiz as a prospect. I was so happy and high on this guy. I was like, wow, he's going to be a really good player. And to be fair, he fooled me. Doesn't swing and miss, doesn't strike out, squares the ball up. The problem is he doesn't hit the ball hard, pretty terrible behind the plate defensively, arguably the worst guy in baseball in terms of throwing out runners. It's actually insane. He's so bad. Framing, he's not even average. I don't know. I think the name sometimes carries a little bit too much weight. And if I saw these numbers and I saw the stats that Keibert Ruiz has, which again is a 600 OPS, he has a WAR barely above half a win. The OPS plus is terrible. The defense is terrible. He would go in the he's starting category. He's in danger of, if not already, losing his starting spot in Washington once they actually get a catcher, because Keibert's just not been good. It's kind of insane. He's been getting hot recently, but he hasn't been good. Corey Lee of the similar ilk, he was a top prospect for the Astros a few years ago, playing every single day with the White Sox defensively. Great. Again, awesome at throwing out runners, but the framing's bad, the bat's bad. He's starting? Almost anybody that's on the White Sox will be in that tier this year, probably outside of Luis Robert. Just a really horrible team. And Corey Lee, he's getting a shot. He's doing his best, but he's not been very good. I can't put him anywhere above he's starting. Kyle Higashioka, the home run stroker. This feels so weird because I feel like we do this every single year with him. He gets crazy hot, hits a ton of home runs, low average, plays pretty good defense, a really good framer. I think he just might be a good baseball player because at least he has that home run pop in his bat. In terms of barrel rate, a 12.6% barrel rate is awesome, especially for a guy who's not going to be playing every day. He is pretty much platooning with Luis Campusano. I don't know why I didn't put him in here. I just ended up going with Higashioka instead. But the home run stroker, I think, just is a good baseball player, is a pretty good defensive catcher at 34 years of age, which feels crazy that he's even that old. And he just continues to hit for power. So I'm going to put him in the good baseball man. He probably realistically goes in the all right. You know what? He goes goes in the I8. He goes in the I8. Hold on. I was saying it out loud, and I forgot who's in those tiers, and I forget that he does platoon really at the end of the day. Give him good matchups. He's I8. We fixed it. Or maybe you're pissed at me now. Whatever. I don't care. In previous years, he had an OPS below 700. Overreacted at first. Hand up. We're better. Logan O'Hoppe. This guy was on pace to be in the elite tier at some point this year. Now, defensively, not great back there, but that's not why you have Logan O'Hoppe. You have him because at the plate, he's one of the better hitting catchers right now in Major League Baseball. So for me, despite the shortcomings defensively, I'm still putting him in the all-star tier. I think he has the ability, especially in a lineup where if he had any sort of protection, if he had other capable major leaguers around him and he didn't have to hit in the middle of the order, I actually think he could be having an even better season than he is. I like Logan O'Hoppe. He does feel better right now than the guys that I have below him. I don't know how much higher I would put him right now in my rankings, but he's a good baseball player, and I think we're going to continue to see his growth as long as the Angels don't screw him up. And he hits the ball really hard. Again, barrel rate, electric. I love that. Okay, Miguel Amaya goes in he's starting. The city of Chicago, rough behind the plate. What is going on with this sun? Now that I've readjusted my camera for the insane bright sun that just came in while I was talking about Miguel Amaya, yeah, he's not a sunshine of any means. He's been pretty terrible. Blocks above average. That's the only thing he does well. Everything else, literally bad. I don't know how he's playing as much as he is for the Cubs. Tomas Nido's hurt. Tomas Nido would be better, but he's not playing. Miguel Amaya's gotten 88 games this year, which feels insane. They got rid of Yan Gomes. I can't believe that he was even worse. They're trying out Christian Betancourt, who I believe had a negative OPS plus with the Marlins. Scratch that. It was 26, not negative. 26 OPS plus. Yeah, Miguel Amaya. I'm sorry. I don't mean to shit on you. We're putting him in. He's starting. Nick Fortes also goes there, because you know what's crazy? He wasn't starting over some of the guys the Marlins were playing. It's like him, Ali Sanchez. Christian Betancourt was playing. Nick Fortes is a Met killer. If you ask a Met fan about Nick Fortes, you go, this guy sucks, but he kills us, because of course he does. But a 45 OPS plus, a negative WAR this year. Negative! Technically speaking, the Marlins would be better if he never touched the plate. You know what's crazy? He's so good defensively. He's elite at throwing out runners, really good at blocking, and even a pretty good framer. He's just so bad at the plate. So yeah, he's starting for sure. It's just what are you doing there? Ooh, I thought we were starting to see it happen with Patrick Bailey, because defensively, coming out of NC State, he was fantastic. You watched him behind the plate, you're like, oh, this guy is one of the best defensive catchers, will be one of the best defensive catchers. At the plate, he started to do some really good things, but he has slowed down a bit as the season's gotten longer and longer and longer, and now we've seen about 700 plate appearances with him being a below league average hitter, but elite defensively behind the plate. Disgusting. Framing, nobody better. Cost ceiling above average, nobody better. For those reasons, and the fact that I think he can improve still, or offensively at the plate, I'm going to put him in the good baseball man tier. It would be crazy to put him in the other tier because the defense is simply the best. Better than all the rest. And I think there is still some room for that bat, and I think playing in San Francisco probably doesn't help as much either. Absolutely love Ryan Jeffers. Dude is a really good hitter, 19 home runs on the year, OPS near 800 for the Minnesota Twins. Fantastic. Kick Christian Vasquez out of that starting role. Ryan Jeffers is playing. He's also kind of shockingly young, only 27 years old, and the dude's been playing since the COVID season. It feels like he's been around forever. Good barrel rates, hits the ball hard, used to be good defensively. This year, the defensive numbers not particularly great. That does slow him down a little bit. And now we've seen a couple seasons where the defensive numbers have not been as strong as they were. But the bat continues to get better. Therefore, good baseball man tier. There's a lot of really good catchers right now in Major League Baseball if you haven't picked up on it. Not a lot at the top. A lot of really good in the middle, a lot of crap at the bottom. Ryan Jeffers finds himself kind of right in that middle. Salvador Perez. I know he won that 2015 World Series against my New York Mets, and I think there might be some Mets fans that hate him because he was disgusting. But Salvador Perez is one of my favorite players. As a guy who used to catch, I loved Salvi growing up. Watching him play, I was like, this dude is awesome. I say growing up. He's 6 years older than me. So watching him play when I was 16 to the age of 22, I was like, this guy's awesome. And you know what? He really has not slowed down at all. Now, defensively, not elite like he once was. Still throwing out guys. Framing has not been as bad as it has been in the past, but he's not a great athlete because he's old, 34 years old. But at the plate, gonna be tough to find a catcher in baseball right now that is hitting as well as Salvador Perez has the last few seasons. So for me, Salvi, not gonna go in elite again because I think you need to have both sides of the baseball, but he is for sure going in that all-star tier. The power's still there. The barrel rate's insane. The bat speed's insane for 34 years old. Everything he does at the plate, beautiful. We love Salvador Perez. What happened to Sean Murphy? Seriously, what happened to him? Defensively, still great, but at the plate has been not good, and I think it's the injuries kind of slowing him down a little bit, but last year we saw the second half of the season really slow down after a torrid start, and he still is a very good player, but this year he's been really bad. I'm going to still give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to put him in the all-star tier despite having like a 700 OPS and not really moving that well and just kind of being a whatever catcher this season. I just can't scrape out of my head that he is a good player, so I'm going to leave him an all-star. People are going to get mad about this one, I know for sure. Braves fans might even get mad. They might be disappointed in how he's playing, but he does feel better than these guys. He's 29. Is this just a downturn of him? I don't know. I'm going to leave him an all-star, and people are going to be mad that I put him over Real Muto. They're basically the same player this year, whatever. I don't care. This is my video. Ooh, Shea Langoliers. What do I do with you? I think just right off the rip, good baseball man. Good defensively behind the plate, great pop time, good at throwing out runners. The framing, not great this season, but again, those numbers are a little bit iffy year to year. At the plate, mashes baseballs, elite barrel rate, feels like a lot of the catchers in the good baseball man tier. They do a couple things really well. Not everything. They're not a well-rounded catcher in terms of doing everything at a high level, but what Shea Langoliers does well is hit baseballs and hit them hard. And to me, that alone puts him in the good baseball man tier. He's having a career season, 26 years old, a lot of growth left still. I mean, when is Travis d'Arnaud going to stop? He always haunts the Mets. It's frustrating because we cut him so early so that we could keep Devin Mesoraco. Shout out Brody Van Wagenen. Travis d'Arnaud's ended up having a really nice major league career. What kind of player is he though? Because defensively, average. At the plate, he is above average. He's probably just a good baseball man, which makes me think Sean Murphy should go there too. Oh, I hate this, but Sean Murphy's really only having one bad year. Travis d'Arnaud's a good baseball player, for sure. Would start on most Major League Baseball teams, is a good catcher, does everything pretty well. That feels like a good spot to put him. He's just getting a little bit old. He's 35. Man, Travis d'Arnaud's 35 years old. That made me feel old. Tyler Stevenson, another guy who does a few things really well and a bunch of stuff not. Like defensively, athleticism-wise, pretty horrible. At the plate, the guy mashes. He's raking again, and that's good because last year felt like the outlier. Was a bad offensive season, but we saw him in shorter samples put up some really good offensive numbers, and he's doing it again. Good baseball man, major league catcher. No reason to get rid of him, no reason to improve. He is good at the position. Defensively, not so much, but if he's going to be about 15-20% better than league average at the plate, you can give that up. Man, I love Will Smith, and I think he's a really, really good player, and I think in the past, I would have thrown him in elite. But the more I'm looking at Will Smith's numbers, the more I'm looking at him as a player, I think he's just really good. Like, I think he's just awesome. I think he's a great catcher. He's reliable. You're going to get 120 games out of him. You're going to get 20 homers, 20 doubles, 80 RBIs, an OPS around 800 with pretty decent defense, but none of that screams elite to me. So Will Smith to me is going to go in the all-star tier. I'd love to know what you Dodgers fans are thinking. I don't think but he's got the same numbers as Adley as in those guys. Oh my God, what do we do? No, I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with all-star. We got to hold the elite for the elite players, and I think Will Smith is really good. I just don't think he is elite right now. 16 homers, like all the numbers are awesome. You love it. Perfect for the Dodgers team. Exactly what they need. Now we got the Contreras brothers. Oh, this is super difficult. Where am I going to put these guys? William is awesome. William's sick at the plate. Maybe one of the best hitting catchers in baseball, and I think that counts for something. Like he just mashes, high average, high on base, home runs, barrel rate. He does it all. Defensively, he's been bad this year, but in previous years, like he was elite last year. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. We've now seen a couple seasons of bad defense, a couple seasons of elite defense. I want to put William Contreras in elite. Maybe this is crazy based on the numbers that we've seen, but 3 seasons of an OPS above 800 from the catcher position. Pretty good defense, elite barrel rates, doesn't swing and miss that often, doesn't strike out, gets on base. He does everything that you would want out of a franchise catcher. 26 years old, I think William Contreras is awesome. And I'm going to do something that I think is going to bother people. I'm also going to put Wilson Contreras in elite, and I think people are going to freak out because the defensive numbers are usually not great on Wilson Contreras, but this year they've gotten better. He's been blocking better. He's been framing better. He's been throwing out more runners a little bit, and he just mashes at the plate. 15 homers in under 300 at-bats is crazy. He's walking almost 13% of the time. I don't know what you want more out of a catcher that is elite. He's making an argument to be one of the best catchers in baseball, in my opinion, right now, Wilson Contreras, at age 32. Cubs should have signed him. You could have had Wilson Contreras. You got Miguel Amaya. He is one of the 3, 4, maybe even 5 best catchers if you're caring about defense as much as someone maybe shouldn't. But Wilson Contreras is just awesome. He's really, really good. One of the reasons why the Cardinals are even competing still for a playoff spot, because he puts his team on his back. He's got an OPS plus above 120 for the last 3 seasons. I genuinely don't know what else you need from him. He's elite. In before the comment section says, Mark never cares about defense. I do. It's just not as important as you think sometimes, especially when your bat is so good like Wilson. Oh, they literally saved the hardest for last. Ugh, where does Yainer Diaz go? Yainer, not Yainer. Where does Yainer Diaz go? Wow. Offensively, elite. Defensively, Really good at throwing out runners this year. Blocks the ball really well. Maybe the worst framer in baseball. Maybe. Like, it's horrendously bad. The fielding run value is super low. I'm gonna put him in All-Star. And that feels so dirty, but I don't see him. I don't see him in the same tier as the guys in Elite right now, even though he does some things like the guys in Elite. At the plate, he's awesome, hitting almost 300. He's got pop in that bat. Hits the ball really hard. There's a lot of things that Yainer Diaz does that makes you excited. Behind the plate, even, he's gotten better. I'm gonna keep him an All-Star for one more year. I'm gonna do it. The power numbers are a little bit down. There's my caveat. 13 home runs and less plate appearances than last year. There's my caveat. Power numbers down, but he's still so sick. God, I hate making these videos sometimes because there's no way to win. There's no way to win, but also that's why I love him, and that's why you love him. Let me know in the comment section down below. Who do you think I ranked wrong? Who's in the wrong tier? Tell me what I did incorrect. Yell at me. Go for it. You can also yell at me on social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. Don't forget to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. That's where I'll wrap it up. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on another video. Bye.